Hello there, Ashley here, and today's topic is all about histamine intolerance, and mast cell activation, which is essentially the same thing as histamine intolerance. And then I want to talk about what that has to do with the gut. Okay. So if you're struggling with things like food sensitivities, joint pain, eczema, allergies, acne, migraines, then you're going to want to listen to this one because there's a good chance that if you're dealing with these symptoms, you're probably also dealing with elevated histamine production. Okay. So let's dive right in. And the first thing I want you to know is that we need to be aware of that when it comes to histamine intolerance and histamine overproduction, is that it does start in the gut. Okay. When your microbiome, your gut, and the bacteria in your gut are imbalanced, you are more likely to produce histamine. Many people are aware that histamine production is an immune response, and it is. So, I want to talk about that for a second. What actually happens is that when there is a significant amount of inflammation, and gut inflammation specifically, the immune system can be easily triggered and overactivated, overstimulated, which then ramps up the production of histamine. And this is actually a defense mechanism. Our body produces histamine in order to protect potential threats that we are exposed to. Okay. So, since the immune system is now overly heightened, it's in this overly activated state because we're producing so much histamine, things in our environment become really triggering. So, things like foods and chemicals and scents and perfumes, plants, and even animals now become more triggering than they should be. Okay. So, another big contributor here that we need to look at is leaky gut. Okay, which yes is a big buzzword these days, but really what leaky gut means is quite valid. The idea of leaky gut, I should say. And all leaky gut means is that the mucosal lining of our stomach has become weak and permeable, meaning there's now these little tiny holes in the stomach lining that is allowing things that should remain in the stomach, like undigested food and toxins and bacteria, things that should stay in the stomach are now making their way into the bloodstream, which is now causing that immune response, which is now causing even more histamine to be produced. Okay, so things like allergies and hives and acne, food sensitivities are generally associated with this leaky gut and histamine response dichotomy happening. Okay, so when it comes to getting to the bottom of this, one of the things we really need to look at is why has the stomach lining become weak in the first place? What's causing the leaky gut? With this, we really need to look at the bacteria in the gut, the good and the bad bacteria, because they are actually responsible for the strength of your stomach lining. And then, yes, we need to start working on a plan to correct the leaky gut by supporting your microbiome. Okay. One other thing we need to look at is the liver. How well is your liver functioning? How well is the liver detoxifying histamine? This is something I focus on with all of my clients. I actually have a really effective liver supporting detox protocol inside of the Happy Gut Solution that really works on supporting these symptoms, supports the liver, and then supports working on these symptoms, getting rid of these symptoms of histamine intolerance, right? Like the acne, the joint pain, the food sensitivities, etc. So we really need to be mindful here that we have to support both the gut and the liver. We also need to look at diet, specifically in the short term, if there are too many foods that you're consuming that are really high in histamines. So we want to make sure we're not overdoing those foods, okay? Things like fermented foods, smoked meats, dairy, cheese specifically, even spinach, avocados. So this is where it can be very confusing because some of those foods are considered health foods, right? But they're also really high in histamine. So we want to be avoiding them in the short term until the root issue is resolved. Okay. At the end of the day, I'll say it again, we have to help the gut so we can reduce the amount of histamine we are producing in the body. Histamine reactions are just a symptom at the end of the day. It is not something that you have to live with, and you don't have to avoid that long list of foods that trigger you. We got to get to the root, okay? The answer is also not to rely on antihistamine medications, okay? In the short term, yes, that can be absolutely helpful, but over time, those antihistamines cause a detriment to your digestive system. Okay, it can actually slow digestive function. It can lower stomach acid production, and it can even impair detoxification. So this is the exact opposite of what I've just been talking about, right? We want the digestive system, we want the gut to be in a really good place, and we want to make sure our liver is also functioning optimally, okay? So the long-term solution is to support the gut and to support detoxification. I hope this all makes sense to you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm more than happy to chat. In the meantime, I hope you have a great day, and I will chat with you soon. Take care.